depends. What do you prefer? Or which do you prefer? Do you prefer the caravan or the cruise liner when you go on vacation? It depends. Do you prefer lying on a sunny beach or going skiing on vacation? It depends. Oh, I like the caravan. Why? Why do you like the caravan? So those are a couple of examples that I want to focus on in today's episode, and I'm sticking with interpersonal skills because both of those things that I just showed you in my example there were big no-nos for interpersonal skills and specifically conversation that you can teach your students. Alright? Check out this video bumper and let's get started on the new video. ESL Trailblazer, let's make something happen. Alright, we're back. ESL Trailblazer, let's make something happen. I'm Nandis. Hope you like the new video bumper. Like your feedback on that. Okay, I'm trying to become a little more professional with these videos. So, interpersonal skills. We were talking about it last week. I was focused mainly on that with teachers and what they can do to help their students improve their interpersonal skills in conversation speaking classes. So today I'm following that up with a few tips that are about the same skill, and they're big no-nos for conversation. So it doesn't matter if you're a student listening to this or you're a teacher and you want to give advice or feedback to your students, or maybe you're just a native English speaker. Also important, because just because you speak English doesn't mean you're good at conversation. Sorry, that's just reality. Okay, so as you heard at the very beginning of the video, I was using this "it depends" phrase, and I've been meaning to make a video about this because unfortunately a lot of Polish people, when they speak English to me, they use this a lot. Oh, man, so much. It's so overused. My goodness me. I'm trying to keep myself composed because it's so overused. I don't know if it's used in Polish. I hear zależy, but I don't know if I hear it as much as when I hear Polish people speaking to me in English and using it, or in other conversations. So please stop using it, because it's a conversation killer, everyone. Okay? When you say it depends, especially when someone is asking you about a preference, like, what do you prefer? Which do you prefer? The caravan or the cruise liner? Thrillers or biographies? Questions like this, and you say it depends, we don't know who you are. You're not telling us anything about you. We can't get to know you. We can't get to know you. Like if it's the beginning of a relationship or you're trying to get to know somebody, you're preventing that from happening when you're using that word, okay? If we're having a discussion where opinions need to be exchanged and you need to take a position on something, you can't use "it depends" because there's no conversation, there's no discussion, there's no opinion exchange going to happen because you're not taking a stand on or a position on what you believe or what your opinion is on a topic. So again, conversation killer. We're done. We can't continue with it if you use "it depends." So those two scenarios are the most common, where if you use "it depends," you're preventing any conversation from happening that's worthwhile anyway. The other thing is that it might, if you overuse it and it's very obvious, it might give the impression that you lack knowledge or that you feel uncomfortable talking to me or somebody else that you're just talking to with regards to what your opinion is. Maybe you don't have one about it, if that's the case. So it could give this negative impression if you overuse it. I have some language for the Polish people out there who are wondering, okay, so what can I replace it with? My students have asked me, what can I replace it with? My students tend to know that I'm not a big fan of this "it depends," and they always laugh or smirk when they have to use it. I allow it, but they know that I'm not a big fan. So you can say something like "it's based on," or "it relies on something," or "is determined by," or "is contingent on." It hinges on, hinge like the hinge of a door, it hinges on. These are all quite formal substitutes or replacements for it depends, but again, they don't have the exact same usage in context as it depends, because they are more like formal ways of saying it depends on this happening for this to happen, yeah? Okay? So improving your English hinges on learning vocabulary and extending your vocabulary, you see? Okay? Improving your English is determined by how much work and practice you're getting over a course of time. You see? Now, you can use it depends like that, but as you can see, it's not the same context as when someone asks you a preference question and you say it depends. Okay? So that's all I'll go, that's as far deep as I'll go into that. The other one that I said at the beginning of the video was why. Now, I know you're probably wondering what I'm talking about here, but this is specifically for English teachers. If you have students who are of lower level, like intermediate, maybe even upper or lower, why is a very easy question to ask, but actually it's a difficult question to answer. What I mean by that is you don't have to think at all. You don't have to listen or show that you're listening when you ask the question why to your partner in a conversation class or a speaking activity or in real life. You don't have to think. You just have to say why. In real life, when you ask why, it's like you're questioning the person's reasons for liking something or reasons for doing something the way they do it. And some people might be defensive about that. They might not like it that you're questioning their reasons by asking why. Is that really what you want to know? A lot of times it isn't. It's just a very easy question to ask. In conversation classes, in the classroom now, I'm talking about our speaking activities, students fall back on this why because they know it's an easy question to ask. But a lot of times it doesn't show that they're paying attention because students usually give a reason for why they have an opinion or a preference by using because. And it's not necessary to ask why. One more thing about that is that if you ask a more specific question that shows you were listening, it's going to allow the conversation to flow better and move along, and it will be also more fruitful. I'm using that nice word, fruitful, because you will learn about the person in a better way, let's say. Okay, so with my example for the caravan, because I do it a lot in my classes, if you say that you prefer the caravan over the cruise liner because you want to be with your friends and not with strangers on a boat, or you're scared of the sea and you like the mountains and the countryside, and the person says why, they weren't paying attention, which a lot of my students do when I ask them, give me a question now, they say why, which shows that they weren't listening to me at all. But isn't it better if you ask a question like, have you ever been in a caravan? Where would you go with your caravan? Who would you go with? You can learn more about the person by asking those specific questions that you were listening for. Okay? So that takes practice, and we can do it in another lesson, but I wanted to use that as an example to show you how it's very important that you ask questions that are specific to what the person is talking about. Also, let people describe the experience when they're telling you what their experience is, okay? Don't tell them, oh, were you scared? Because then they're going to say, yeah, I was scared. Were you excited? Yeah, I was excited. That's how they answer when you put the adjective in. Ask them, what was that like? Or how did you feel? Or how did that make you feel? Because then they have to sit and think and respond and make a sentence and tell you how they felt or what it was like. And you're letting them speak. So those questions right there are really good conversation starters or questions to ask in the middle of a talk, okay? You can teach that to your students if you're teachers. All right, we're out of time for today. That's a couple more tips on interpersonal skills, teaching, native, conversationalist stuff. I hope you find it valuable. Build momentum. I really appreciate it, Trailblazers. You know your viewership is very important to me. I love your questions. Give me some feedback on my video bumper. I hope you liked it. And I'll see you back again for another week, another episode. Have a great one, and I'll see you later.